You're listening to the YouTube channel Fox Spot, promoting various charities, community groups and individuals from all parts of Leicestershire. Welcome to the Spotlight Show.
But I've got an old friend in our cyber studio. Well, she's not that old, but she's still a friend. We've got Rebecca Middleton from the well-known Canine Partners charity. Welcome again to the Spotlight Show, Rebecca.
Hello, thank you so much for having me again.
That's it. But always put a smile on your face. But we're not going to talk about that. Let's stick to the dogs. Right. How's it all going? I mean, is it all busy? Is this time of year busier for you than the rest of the year?
Oh, definitely. I mean, from a fundraising point of view in particular, yes, because there's loads of different events we're going to in the run up to and over Christmas. But for the charity as a whole, it's I suppose business as usual in the sense that we operate for our partnerships every single day, 24 hours a day, either way. So that bit stays the same. But we've had a super busy year this year because it's our 35th year. So we've had loads across the course of the year. And we've had our 1000th partnership creation this year. So it's been a big one for us,
Yeah,
2025.
last time we talked, we knew that you were close to it. So it's nice to hear that 1,000 mark has been reached, and congratulations to all concerned.
Yeah, it was a wonderful partnership. So a wonderful lady called Sue and her canine partner James, who's a golden retriever. So it was incredible seeing them in their partnership and celebrating 1000 years of partnerships, but them in particular having that as a milestone was very, very special this year.
Right, now, for those people that don't know, you're based at Oglethorpe, which is sort of just outside Shepshed on the way towards Colville and that. What's the contact details? Where can people find the website?
So we're on www.caninepartners.org.uk, but you can find us on social media if you search in Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those Canine Partners, you'll find us there. And then if you wanted to ever come to the centre, absolutely, we're in between Belton and Griffey Dam, that kind of an
Yeah.
Oglethorpe on that main road there, Ashby Road. And we do open days. We've had our final one for this year, but we'll have loads of stuff planned for next year as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll book you now in advance. We'll have you on about a week before you're going to reopen again so we can give it a damn good plug. It's definitely well worth going to. I must admit, I've been invited over 3 times now at least, but it's never been possible. But I promise that next year, my granddaughter wants to come over. She wants to see the dog, so we're going to make it a day out and come over and have a good laugh and that.
We'd love to have you.
Right. Now, how many dogs do you actually have at the kennels at any one time, or does it vary?
It varies all the time because our dogs in training will live with their puppy training volunteers. So those are incredible people that live within about 30 minutes of the centre, and the dogs live with them, but then they'll come in. Not necessarily every day, but select days fitting around the volunteers, perhaps working patterns or lifestyle. They'll come into the centre. So it can vary anything from, a couple of dogs to probably 15. It can really vary just depending on who's in, what we're doing, that kind of thing. So it's different every day.
Now, what type of dogs are ideal for the work that you do?
So we predominantly use Labradors, Golden Retrievers, crosses between the two, so a Labrador Retriever. And we do actually have at the moment some Labrador crossed with poodles. So we've got some Labradoodles at the moment. It's a relatively new thing for us at the moment, just because we're looking into whether their coats are better for people with hypoallergenic
Yeah,
concerns,
yeah.
and their coats are sometimes better with shedding and casting. So that's something we're working through at the moment. But predominantly those breeds are they'll work for food, they'll work for fuss, so they're very biddable. They're all about getting their treats, but everything we do is positive reward based at the charity. Everything's based around play and fun. And Labradors, Golden Retrievers, they're all about having fun.
Now, Unfortunately, there are going to be some people listening who don't know what you actually do up there at Oglethorpe. So please explain it all.
So we train assistance dogs for people with physical disabilities. So adults across the UK, we're a national charity, but we're based in the heart of Leicestershire. So our national training centre operates as the almost Canine Partners University, if you like. Our puppies are brought up with their puppy training volunteers across the UK. We have satellites of puppy training volunteers who look after our puppies from 8 weeks old through to being about 18 months old. They're teaching them all the core skills to be a well-trained dog. So sit, stay, toileting, that kind of thing. But then between about 18 months and 2 years old, they'll come in towards the National Training Centre, again staying with incredible volunteers, and then coming into the centre to do their actual training. And that's where we add in the element of being a canine partner. And what I mean by that is we train the dogs to use their skills that they've learnt in puppyhood, all centered around three core skills, which is a game of tug, um, putting their nose to a touch target, and being able to retrieve things. And we turn that into stuff that helps people. So, for example, being able to open a door, being able to put washing in and out of the washing machine and hand it to a person then to hang up on the washing line, being able to take off items of clothing. So something like our jacket, that game of tug that we play with our dogs in
Yeah.
puppyhood, then becomes tugging off the sleeve of a jacket or pulling down a zip. So those skills all go from that positive reward based puppy training into something that's incredibly helpful for our partnerships.
At the end of the day, they do it for love.
Oh, you watch our dogs when they work, or you watch one of our dogs giving a demonstration and their tails are wagging the whole time. They're doing it, they love the treats, they love the fuss. But as they get more into partnership and that bond grows, I wouldn't say that's as essential. And like I say, their tails are going the whole time because they're just loving playing that game. It just happens that it helps that partnership as well.
And I do know that the dogs, when they're working, do wear a purple coloured coat. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
I would
my question is basically, when does the purple coat get introduced into the dog's training?
I would say it's further on. So in puppyhood, they wear a little bandana so that our training volunteers can take them into, places you wouldn't traditionally be able to
Yeah.
take a dog as part of their training. But I would say that that jacket comes probably around 18 months old once they're that little bit older. But the jacket isn't a signifier that the dog is working to the dog. The dogs work whether they've got the
Yeah,
jacket
yeah,
on or
yeah.
not. The jacket for Canine Partners is more of a thing to help our partnership so that people understand that this is a dog that's working and that that dog has access rights to accompany their partner into, whatever venue it is that they're heading into. It's just one of those things that helps people understand that that dog is working, and maybe not to go and fuss them or distract them if you can help it, being able to leave that dog to focus on what it's doing with their person.
I just want to pick up on what you said there. The dogs, when they're working and going into a particular building site, they have a legal right to enter that building, yes?
Well, it's certainly, absolutely. I'm not the expert on legal rights, and there's such a lot to consider, and it's things that are being looked at in Parliament and all sorts of things. Our CEO was in Parliament last week because there's so many things as a disability charity. We're really wanting advocacy in that area because those dogs are performing an act that really supports their person,
Yeah, yeah.
and and that's what the assistance dog charities are there for, and having those access rights are really important. But I'm most certainly not the expert on that one. I would definitely hand over to another one of my colleagues for that one.
Right. If people would like to invite you along to different events, I'm thinking along the lines of galas, fates, etc., next year, spring, summertime, would that be possible and how do they do it?
Of course. I mean, we're always looking for opportunities to raise awareness. That's a huge part of what we do, but also raise funds. This charity needs cash to be able to continue to do what it does, and we're wanting to get bigger and better. So, if there are people out there that are listening that can offer those opportunities, my best bet would be to say if you can send us an email to fundraising@caninepartners.org.uk, that comes straight through to our team so that we can look and see where's near, whether we could go along to something like that. So that's an email to fundraising@caninepartners.org.uk. You'll get straight through to us. We also do things like giving talks. So if somebody's listening and thinks, oh, we would love somebody to come and talk about the work of Canine Partners, we can also do that. So again, you could send an email to talks at caninepartners.org.uk. So the same kind of format, but talks at caninepartners.org.uk, and we can go out to all sorts of places and give talks too.
Now, you do a lot of work with veterans, don't you?
We do have partnerships that are veterans, people who were serving in the forces. Our partnerships are vast and varied, but particularly in November, we take time to think about those
Yeah.
veterans that have got their canine partners, yes.
Yeah. I mean, how did you, Rebecca, get involved with Canine Partners?
So I've worked for the charity about 2.5 years now, but the charity has been in my life for over 20 years because my wonderful dad had his first canine partner back in about 2020, well, 2001. He was partnered with his first canine partner, Troy. And my dad had various conditions that meant he didn't feel safe to leave home. He lost a lot of his independence and his quality of life, and that was the saddest thing to watch as a youngster
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
It was really difficult, and to see the way that Canine Partners transformed my dad's life, but ultimately all of our lives, because I was able to be a child again. I didn't have to think about, well, the care of my dad because Troy took care of all of that. And I could go to school knowing that if anything happened, my dad was prone to falls, and he had a heart condition. But if he needed help, Troy would go and get him the phone. If he fell, Troy could go and get him a walking stick to help him get up, or go and fetch the phone so that he could call somebody to get help. And the peace of mind that gave me was, it's hard to put a price on anything
Yeah.
like that. So I am a huge advocate for the charity because I know the transformative effect it has on the partnership, the person that the dog is partnered with, but the whole ripple effect of their family, their friends, their colleagues, whatever their world is, these dogs can transform it for everybody.
Who names the dogs?
It varies. So sometimes we generally have, when litters are born, we'll follow the alphabet. So it will allocate a particular letter of the alphabet and then name those dogs from that. But we do have incredibly wonderful supporters who will pay to name our dogs. So for £5,000, you can name one of our lovely dogs. And there are individuals that do that. There are corporates and companies that do that. There are also people who very kindly leave gifts in their will, and they will say, can you name the dog either after myself or someone else? So our dogs will follow that pattern of the alphabet, but when there's the opportunity and somebody so kindly fundraised or donated that amount, they can pick a name, as long as it's something that someone's willing to shout across a park.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what happens if the person who gets the dog after its training that turn around and say, I really can't get on with that name. It reminds me of XYZ. Is it possible we could change it? Could that happen?
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. I know we've certainly have dogs where if the name's a little bit longer, they might shorten it.
Mm.
So for example, I know we've got a lovely dog going through training at the moment called Gloucester, and I can well imagine there are shorter versions of that are chosen. But generally, people tend to stick with the names, especially if it's somebody who's named the dog and paid for that absolute honour. So generally, I've actually not known anybody really deviate. I've certainly known people that have shortened it,
Yeah.
but I'll have to ask the rest of the team. That's not what I've heard of, to be fair.
I must admit, I do find it a bit mind bending that there could be corporate sponsors. So, theoretically, there could be a dog going around the country somewhere that's called ABC Limited. Not literally, but you know what I mean.
Well, I know that we've had incredible support from one that springs to mind is Q Electricals, and they've had a dog called Q. But then once they'd had lovely Q, they chose to call their next dog Sparky, because
Oh,
they're an
yeah,
electrical
yeah,
company.
yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes they'll go with their official sort of corporate name, or they might go with something there's particular charities as well where the staff have picked the name, so it might not relate to the business that they're from, but they've all had a vote and a name
Yeah,
will win. So, but
yeah.
yeah, Q and Sparky are ones that spring to mind.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea, though, isn't it? Basically, and to be honest, it's all about giving. I
Yeah.
mean, talking about giving, I did see on your website the other day that, along with a number of other charities as well, you make them available the facility to have money donated via a person's will.
hmm Absolutely. And 1 in 2 partnerships at Canine Partners wouldn't exist without that kindness and people leaving donations in their will. So it's a huge part of the fundraising that we have at Canine Partners, and it makes the most phenomenal difference. So it might be that people can't give now, but if they, are wanting to, they can leave that donation in their will, and it has a lasting legacy in every sense of the word to make sure that our partnerships are able to continue.
Right. We've got Christmas coming up, not too distant future. Are there going to be any dogs left at your place at August, or are they all going to be out with their those that look after them?
So they'll either be with their partners or their puppy training volunteers. Our site is open up until Christmas Eve and then closes over the Christmas period up until New Year. But there are no dogs on site. They're all out with their humans, puppy training volunteers, or their partners. We're going to have a very busy Christmas coming up. We've got loads of events planned. So I think everyone's taking a well-earned snooze under the Christmas tree at that point, I reckon.
At least it's one place Santa won't have to go to.
Well, you say that we're actually having this year, we've got our first event where Santa is very kindly joining us. He's taken time out of his busy schedule on the 13th of December we're having breakfast with Santa in the morning so families can join us and have breakfast. And then in the afternoon, he's actually going to be Santa Paws. So dogs can
Oh,
come and meet Santa and have their photo taken and get a lovely present. So yeah, we've got a fantastic Christmas planned for
who who
families, for dogs.
who comes up with the names for some? We've had this discussion before, haven't we? Where we talked about, maybe you should go to the either dogs or barking.
Well, funnily enough, we do. It's not quite the Isle of Dogs. It's Canary Wharf, but we turn that into Canary Woof.
No,
We go
right.
there sometimes and do some fundraising, and that makes a huge difference. But yeah, we love a pun. Fundraising, we're putting literally the fun in fundraising, I think, and come up with every now and again a little pun that keeps us going for a bit longer.
I would worry about your medication, to be honest, Rebecca. But to be honest, it's all in aid of something fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, we're a nation of dog lovers, and if a dog is willing to help a person who's got a disability, if they're able to, yeah, I mean, you think about it, right? There's many a human. We all know at least one person that will struggle to empty and fill up a washing machine, and yet here you are, you've got a dog that can do it.
And it makes a huge difference because it means our partnerships, if they were having to use their energy thinking how exertive that can be, they can save their energy to go and do something far better. They can go out and meet friends. They can go out and
Yeah.
perhaps go to the theatre or whatever it is that they want to use their energy for. They're not wasting it on doing chores and things that they don't really want to do. It's all the things we have to do. And our dogs love doing it because for them, it's a game of fetch. They're fetching that item of clothing out of the washing machine and popping it in a basket. It's a game. So yeah, it works really, really well.
Now, I must mention, I do know that when you do go to different events out, you do take a couple of dogs along with you so people can actually get to see the dogs in action.
We certainly try to. We sadly don't have enough dogs to take them to every event. But for example, on Sunday the 7th of December, we're in Loughborough, we're in All Saints Church. We're having our Canine Partners Christmas Carol concert there at 3 o'clock. And we'll have dogs there that people can meet and say hello and fuss. There'll be some partnerships there as well, so people that are partnered with their dog that are going to attend. But we're also going to be doing a Christmas demonstration. So we'll be at the church singing our lovely carols and celebrating, but we're also going to do a demonstration of the dogs working. So we'll take different items, whether that be a washing machine or a bed or whatever it may be, and then actually show the dogs working so people can see how incredible it is for these dogs to carry out the different tasks that they do.
Now, I do know that once you partner the dogs up with a person and that, it doesn't just end there. You know, you sort of do encourage that they have regular visits to a vet and that. Their health is obviously important.
Oh, it's paramount. And once those dogs have been partnered here at the National Training Centre, we don't just send people off and wish them well. We have a team of aftercare specialists that will support that partnership for life. So in the beginning, when they're going home and it's a really new partnership, they'll speak to them more regularly, they'll visit them more regularly. But then as that partnership grows and develops, they'll move that eventually to 6 monthly so that they're checking in and seeing the dog every 6 months, but they'll be seeing a vet with regularity, checking their weight, checking that they're fit and healthy to do the job they do. So yeah, the partnership at Canine Partners is for life, and making sure that we provide that support. And if the partner's disability changes, we'll train the dog hopefully to do some things that then, as their disability changes, is something, perhaps a new task is needed. We'll train the dog to do that new task so that that support is ongoing.
I mean, unfortunately, it is a fact of life that a dog doesn't live forever, so a dog eventually will pass away. Is it replaced?
So our partners would certainly say you never replace a dog, of course you don't. But at the age of 12, our lovely dogs will retire unless their health tells us that they need to retire earlier than that, in which
All
case
right,
they
yeah.
will do. But in the event when our lovely dogs pass away, retire and then inevitably pass away, our partner will go back onto our waiting list, assuming they would like another dog. They will go back onto our waiting list. And at the moment, our waiting list is closed to new applicants. It is purely made up of our partnerships that are looking for a successor dog to take over well once their other dog has retired. So it's paramount to us that once our partners have had this incredible dog by their side, we want to make sure that we do the very best to get them their next dog in the
Yeah.
most timely way possible. All the dogs are bespokely trained for their person, so it just depends on what our dogs love to do. Our waiting list is very much a case of seeing our dogs, seeing what they love to do, and finding the person on that waiting
Yes.
list that
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah. I suppose in a way, it could be possible to put square pegs with round holes. You know, and the dog and person are just incompatible due to needs.
Yeah, and that's what we don't want. So it takes an incredible amount of time. It takes about 17 weeks from our dogs coming in to the National Training Centre and doing their training as a canine partner. It takes about 17 weeks, but our staff are so incredibly talented at the skill of looking at our waiting list and seeing, if we've got a dog that likes to be active, they're super busy, they want to be on the go all the time, we're going to partner them with somebody who perhaps has got a really active life. They're always out there, perhaps at work, they're doing different things. Whereas if
Rebecca,
we've
I'm
got a
going to
dog
I'm
that's
going to have to
quieter,
interrupt you there. We are running out of time. I want to say goodbye. I want to turn around and say, it's been great having you on the show. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well.
thank you so much. We've absolutely loved it.
We're definitely going to have you back in the new year, see what Santa brought you, and talk about New Year resolutions and all good stuff like that.
Indeed. Thank you very, very much. Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners as well when it comes.
Thank you.